Krishna. Welcome everybody. We are reading from Gita Live Gita course, and we are discussing. So we are discussing chapter 3. Which section? 3.8. 3.8. Oh yeah, yesterday I had read section 3.7. नमो विष्णुपादाय कृष्णप्रेष्ठाय भूतले श्रीमते भक्ति वेदांत स्वामी नामिने नमस्ते सारस्वती देवे गौरवाणी प्रचारिणे निर्विशेष शून्यवादी पाश्चात्य देशतारिणे जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर श्रीवास आदि गौर भक्त वृंद हरे कृष्ण 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे कृष्ण. So we are reading section 3.8, which is material space. Space may be defined as that which gives a unique identity to any object. We are able to distinguish distinct objects owing to the existence of space. The moment the space is withdrawn, there is nothing tangible or physical. When space is actually withdrawn, it sets in the process of devastation. Actually, this space is a manifestation of Krishna's illusory energy. So Sir is explaining the concept of space. So what is space? Space, everything exists in space. For example, I am able to distinguish between two objects because of space. Can you give example of two objects which you are able to distinguish because of space? Please write on the chat window some examples of objects which you are able to distinguish based on space. Yes, so Abhishek Bantaprabhu is giving very nice example. Your voice and my voice. So basically, the auditory space, the space which we hear, uh, we can. So in that auditory space, there are two objects, which is the identity of the person. So the identity, my identity is there in my speech, but unless your space allows for that, you may not be able to distinguish between my voice and Abhishek Prabhu's voice. If you don't have that space, you cannot distinguish that. So, can you give an example of two sounds which somebody is able to distinguish, but somebody else is not able to distinguish? Can you give example of sounds which somebody is able to distinguish? Let's say Abhishek Prabhu is able to distinguish, but I am not able to distinguish. So below 20 hertz, that both of us will not be able to perceive or distinguish. Okay, good. Some animals can distinguish, we cannot. Yes. So animals have that space, we cannot have. But any other example where two people may differ? Above 20 kilohertz. That is fine, but that is, let's say one person can distinguish, other person cannot distinguish. I'll give one example. Let's say in music, when you listen to MP3 audio, MP3 music, then you will not perceive any difference between MP3 file and wave file, right? Whether I play MP3 music or wave music, wave format audio file or MP3 format audio file. So we may not be able to distinguish what is the difference. But those who are very expert musicians, they can distinguish even slight variations, because MP3 version removes very minor variations, which wave file does not remove. That's why the very expert singers and very expert musicians, they can distinguish that yes, this audio does not have those fine variations, so it must be MP3 and not wave file. So we cannot distinguish between those fine variations because we have not learned that space of music, but they have learnt it, so they can distinguish. Another example Abhishek Prabhu is giving, example of a Chinese voice. Like I think I gave this example. There are sounds in different languages which we will not be able to perceive, but Britishers or sorry, but other language speakers will be able to perceive. For example, if you go to Britain and you say pen, they will recognize. If you say pen, they will say maybe you said Ben. Especially in Germany, I saw. In Germany, if you say pen, they will say Ben. What is Ben? No, not Ben. I said pen. They will not be able to recognize. They will not be able to make distinguish between per and ber. No, not. Yeah, maybe I'm correct. Maybe I don't remember. Yeah, so they cannot distinguish between pen and ben, because they don't say pen. They say pen. Like there is no per sound there, but per sound is there. Per pen. Similarly, Britishers. Because they have their space, they have not learned that space. Their space is very different. Similarly, if you go to Germany, there are sounds like ü, which I will not be able to distinguish. If somebody says u or ü, I will not be able to distinguish. But the Germans, they clearly will say, no, this is not u, this is ü. So because they have learned that space, they can distinguish. Similarly, in Odia, I think Sachin Prabhu is there. In Odia, there is r. Sachin Prabhu, can you unmute yourself? Sachin Prabhu?
Yes, sir.
You can say la, la.
Yes, sir. Hare Krishna, sir.
You can say la.
La.
No. Like in Odia, you have this sound, no? La, la.
La.
I don't know, not this one.
So you're telling me to pronounce.
Yeah, kala kalevara.
Oh, kala kalevara kanhei.
Yeah, this sound. So if some non-Odia person will say, he will say da, kada kadevar or kala kalevar, but it's not da, it's not la, it's different sound, which for Odia person it is very easy to distinguish and recognize, but for somebody who does not have this sound in their language, like Hindi speakers, they cannot say, they cannot recognize or distinguish. Right, Sachin Prabhu?
Yes, sir.
Yeah, similarly, so everything exists in space, and space has to be there so that we can distinguish between different objects. And space also is learned as we observe and learn. Our space expands. That's what Sir says, the space, semantic space, the space expands. Okay, and then if the space is withdrawn, which means we cannot distinguish between anything. There are no separate existence of objects. If my space is withdrawn, I will not be able to distinguish between different sounds. I will not be able to distinguish between different visual objects or different touch objects. It is not with the sensor or what do you say? My senses are weak, or my sense organs are weak, but it is because I have not learned those sounds or those objects. Okay, so that is what, and now Sir is explaining. Vipul is asking if all my spaces are withdrawn, will I be able to experience soul? All the spaces are withdrawn. What will you experience? I don't know, sir. Ask for this thought experiment that if all spaces are withdrawn, what will you experience? I don't know. I don't know. Maybe I will experience my thoughts. Means if my gross spaces are withdrawn, I will still be able to experience my thoughts, which is in the mental space. So yeah, it's difficult experiment. You can ask, sir, what will happen then. Okay. Some of the traits of this space are as follows. Now, material space has the following traits. Material space has no connection with the spirit soul. However, it is within Krishna. This is possible through Krishna's illusory energy or Maya Shakti. Material space has no connection with the spirit soul. So material space, so which means, for example, okay, now this space has distinction, and we also have our own preferences. For example, you can distinguish between the taste of gulab jamun and taste of karela, for example, or neem sabji. Taste of gulab jamun and taste of karela or neem. You can, in your space, you can clearly distinguish these two are different objects. But if you are given these two things, what will you pick to eat? Gulab jamun or neem pata? So what will anybody pick? They will pick gulab jamun, not the neem pata, unless somebody is very health conscious and somebody wants to just have one or two neem pata. So generally, nobody would like to pick neem pata. They will pick gulab jamun because they have special affinity towards one kind of experience and aversion from other kind of experience. But this experience has no connection with the spirit soul. So gulab jamun, whether it is gulab jamun or neem, spirit soul has no preference. Means this our spirit soul is not involved in that experience. So some people say, oh, atma tript ho gayi aaj to kha ke. So people say, right, but that is not correct ontologically. Atma is not satisfied by anything material. However, it is within Krishna, but the material space is still within Krishna. It is Krishna's illusory energy or Maya Shakti. That's how this space is existing. Krishna is maintaining it, but still Krishna is aloof from it. Activities in the material space create more distance between Jiva. Sir, but we say soul is enjoying. Soul is not enjoying. Soul is not. Okay. I don't know. Ask Sir this thing. So material space has no connection with spirit soul, which means if I eat gulab jamun or I eat neem pata, so soul is not affected by that. My mind only says, oh yes, I like this, I don't like this. Right? Activities in the material space create more distance between Jiva and Krishna. So if I'm operating in material space, trying to enjoy this versus that, then that creates more distance between Jiva and Krishna. Two individuals may have much physical proximity in the material space. However, they may be far apart in terms of their mental consciousness. So two people can be very close. For example, let's say two people are living together. For example, let's say I and my brother, we are living together. We say, Abhishek Bansal was saying, we say that soul is experiencer but without any biases. I don't know, bro. Maybe you can ask Sir. So yesterday Sir was writing one script for a video in which Sir was explaining that about the experiencer. So Sir said, for the senses, the mind is the experiencer, and then the intelligence is the experiencer, then false ego is the experiencer. So there sir did not mention about soul. So I asked sir, where is soul here? So I'm still waiting for sir's reply. Sir has not replied yet, and maybe when sir makes the video, then it might be there. So I can just cite one analogy which might be relevant here, that soul is like the chariot. The body is like the chariot where mind, so the five senses are the five horses, mind is the bridle, intelligence is the charioteer, and so the living entity is the person who is sitting at the back. And Prabhupada also gives the example of dreaming. If somebody is dreaming, then what kind of experiences will he have? Those are all illusory experiences. Right? These two analogies I had written in that document and sent to sir, that these two analogies may be applicable here. And sir has not replied, so I don't know what is the right answer there. Okay. Hare Krishna. So then further, sir says, okay, two individuals, let's say I and my brother, I think all of you have siblings, brothers or sisters who are living with you. Means when you were small, then you used to spend more time with them, right? Now you might be busy in your other things like studies or job or something, but when you were small, then you were staying together. But still, even if you are together, but your mental consciousness is very far. So you like gulab jamun, your sibling may like ice cream, right? So different preferences, and also you may like to spend time doing this activity, your sibling may like to like some other activity. So your interests will be very different, your thought process may be very different, even if you are staying in same house, staying in the same room, but still physically you may be very close in the physical space, in the gross physical space, but in the subtle space, in the mental level, you are very, very far apart. Or your sibling may be a very good painter and you may not know, or you may not like painting at all. So this implies that there exists a hierarchy in material space. That is, two objects can be in proximity in terms of locational semantics, while the same two objects can be far apart from each other in terms of emotional semantics. Yeah. Unfortunately, we do not have a semantic understanding of the material space as of now within the current science. Bhagavad Gita states that this space consists of temporary existence, ignorance, and misery. So there is no semantic understanding. Means scientists, they do not talk in terms of this kind of space. They talk in terms of elements which are very variegated, very different, but they do not understand this concept of space. Means there is no meaning in what they are doing. There is no semantics in what they are doing. So when they say hydrogen, what is the meaning of hydrogen? That they do not know. They just know, okay, some element hydrogen, but how exactly it is related to the observer and the source, that they do not understand. Bhagavad Gita states that this space consists of temporary existence, so asat, ignorance, achit, and misery, nirananda. Asat, achit, nirananda. Whereas spiritual space is sat, chidananda. Sat means eternal, chit means full of knowledge, ananda means full of bliss. So this space, the material space, is asat, achit, nirananda. We need to contemplate on this space. We have to understand this space in order to be able to liberate it. That's it. Hare Krishna. I think we can read further tomorrow. Maybe today we can stop here. Okay. I think very soon we are going to complete this chapter. Any questions anybody has? This is a very profound concept sir has been telling for so long, but I hardly understand this one. Contemplate on space. Contemplate on this space means trying to understand the nature of this space. So, for example, if I'll give one Example. I I think this is a good example. For example, there is a gulab jamun. There is a gulab jamun, and you want a gulab jamun. Maybe you like something very much and you cry for it. I want it, I want it, I want it. And then you tell your parents, I want gulab jamun. Your mother says, no, no, today we can't go out. There is Corona time, lockdown. We cannot go out and have gulab jamun. But still you will say, no, 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 I want to go out and have gulab jamun. So like this, like that, uh, we have we want to experience a gulab jamun. But what is a gulab jamun? It is not, uh, uh, it is just an experience. It is just an experience, just a taste experience. You experience the gulab jamun in your, uh, which spaces do you experience gulab jamun in? So when we say I want to have a gulab jamun, in which space do I want to have gulab jamun? Means what kind of experience I want. Yeah, it's a taste experience. Yes, the taste is sweetness, the sweet taste of gulab jamun, and the smell experience. It has a fragrance, right? Gulab jamun has a fragrance. And touch experience. Gulab jamun is very soft. If you when you put in your mouth, your tongue also touches and it sees how soft it is. And warm. Both are touch experience, warm and soft. So these three experiences combined together, they give us the experience of gulab jamun. And of course, the visual experience may also count. But even if there is no visual experience, still you can be satisfied with the gulab jamun, right? Even if you may not see it, but as soon as somebody puts a gulab jamun in your mouth, you will enjoy it. You will say, oh, I can experience the touch of that soft gulab jamun. I can experience the fragrance of that soft gulab jamun, that fragrance gulab jamun. I can taste it. So it is the. So now, what is this? It's just an experience, a material experience, and it has no connection with my eternal existence. So this means this experience is uh, like there is no point in hankering for this experience because it is temporary. Even if I get it, I will be. It is not going to stay forever, and also it is temporary, and also it is not going to give me pleasure all the time. If I give you gulab jamun after gulab jamun after gulab jamun, like I keep feeding you gulab jamun, what will you say after some time? I am fed up of sweets. Give me something savory, some salty thing you give me to eat. I no more sweets now, right? So even it is temporary, and also it cannot give you pleasure all the time. So that is why there is no point in running after material experiences. And also we read, they take us far away from Krishna. This one, if we, material space creates more distance between Jiva and Krishna. If somebody is running after gulab jamun and tasty food, he will or she will not be able to appreciate Krishna consciousness that much. Of course, if it is prasadam, that is different. If somebody gives gulab jamun prasad, means offering to Krishna and then serving you as prasad, that gulab jamun is not material in material space. That is Krishna's prasad. Next question is, how can we understand that one space gives rise to the other? As Sir says that from sound space comes other space. I don't know. This is very difficult. This is very difficult question. I don't know how touch experience comes from a sound experience. I don't know. So Rajkumar Prabhu is asking, it's not sin, although no. Okay. In the Vedic time, king used to go to forests for hunting. It's not sin, although they were devotee of Lord. Hunting. Okay. Rajkumar Prabhu, good question. So yeah, so they went for hunting, but there was a purpose to it. They wanted to practice their chivalry, their strength. For example, you have army people today, right? They have to go to the army people. They have to go to the field to practice, and they also practice shooting. They also practice killing. So who can they shoot? They can shoot in the air. They can shoot on dummy targets, right? But still, that is not a very lively experience, right? So they practice shooting on uh, uh, they practice shooting on uh, some very difficult to shoot target. Um, so because if they do not practice killing, if they are not trained up, then how will they be able to fight when there is war? At the war time, they have to fight, so they have to practice killing. But who should they kill? They cannot kill anyone and everyone. They cannot kill indiscriminately. So that is why they kill. So I heard from one devotee that they killed animals who are, number one, who are either dangerous to the people living nearby. For example, there is some village in which some deer or not deer, some lion or some wolves, they attack. So these kings will go and kill such lions and wolves and what is it called, the panthers, leopards. So they will kill them. And killing them means not just going and shooting them, but they go with the bow and arrow, or they may even go barehanded and fight with them just with hands. So that just to practice their chivalry, practice their strength, their fighting skills. And in that way, the villagers are also benefited because these animals are maybe creating a lot of problems for the villagers. And also, if you see that time, the forests were there. Like mostly, the land was forest. There was no indiscriminate killing or no indiscriminate deforestation, no indiscriminate industrialization to kill all the forests. There were lots of forests, and all these forests were full of so many animals. So even if they were killing some animals, but it was not causing an imbalance in the nature. But today what we are doing, we are causing great imbalance in the nature by destroying the forests themselves. Like we may say, we are not killing animals, but we are destroying their habitat. Where will they live? Like ITK has got so many monkeys now because we have taken away their habitat. So they are now they are so hungry, they do not have food to eat. So this is the so hunting is number one required for their practice, and number two, it is required for maintaining some balance in the forests. Okay. Anshu is asking, what is the meaning of truth? Truth means that which exists. Truth means that which exists. So what exists? So the meaning is given: nasato vidyate bhavo, na bhavo vidyate satah, udhayorapi drishtyantas, tvayos tvanya tattvadarshibhi. Right, Anshul Prabhu? So this verse from Bhagavad Gita says, na asato vidyate bhavo, which means in the asat, in the something which is not true, which is not truth. Na asato vidyate bhavo. Bhavo means persistence or endurance. There is no endurance in something which is not true, which means this endurance means existence or permanence. So something which is not true will be temporary, and something which is true, na abhavo vidyate satah. Something which is sata, which is true, there is no abhava. There is no no temporariness, which means that truth is eternal and something which is not true is temporary. So what is truth then? So this gulab jamun, is it truth? It is temporary, so it is not truth. Right? The spirit soul is truth. Yes. Yes. So Sir often discusses in the first chapter of Learn Gita, Live Gita, there are 5 aspects of truths. One is Krishna, second is Jiva, then the Prakriti, then Kala and Karma. These are the 5 aspects of truth. And so Jiva is relative truth. Relative truth. Relative truth. I think it is the temporary. Temporarily it is true, but means temporarily it exists, but there is no actual existence. So therefore, ultimately it is asat. Relative truth. Like sir gave example, I think few days ago. If you, what did sir say? If you eat medicine, your fever will go away. This is the truth, but this is relative truth. This is not the sata which is being referred to here in Bhagavad Gita, this verse. Right? Are we relative truth? So the material existence is relative, maybe relative truth, but our spiritual existence is part of absolute truth, is truth. What is the definition of material space? Material space, we perceive it with our material senses. Material space is perceived with the material senses. I think that is my understanding. The material space gives identity and distinction to material experiences. So what are material experiences? That which we have, which are temporary, which we have through our material senses. Okay, I think we can stop here. It's 7:45, more than that. Okay, Hare Krishna. Thank you very much. Prabhupada ki jai.